Esau come out first, and Jacob had him by the heel. And Jacob did everything he could to cause trouble for Esau most of his life. He was a mama's boy. He was a mama's baby boy. We know that by the end of the chapter 27, I believe it was. He just had deceived his own father in order to get a birthright. So we know what he started out at. But we're going to look at a verse in Genesis chapter 28, verse 20. And it says this, and Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, I will give, and you will give me bread to eat, and raiment to put on. Okay? I am going to follow him. That's what he said he would do. So that I come again to my father's house in peace. Then shall the Lord be my God. He had spent a night. He was running away from Esau. Because after he stole his brother's birthright and his brother's blessing, he knew that if he stayed there, his dad was going to be dead before too long. And when his dad was there, nothing was going to stop him. Was dead. Nothing was going to stop Esau, because he would be the oldest child, and he could have done anything he wanted to it. And Esau had already vowed, when my father is dead, then Jacob is going to die. So his mother went to Isaac before he died and said, you know, Esau has married those women from down there at the trailer park. And that just breaks my heart. I want you to send Jacob back to my family so he can get him a good wife. That's what he said. That's what she did. So Jacob sent Esau off to get him a good wife. And he did that, and when he was doing that, he was actually saving his life, and he wasn't really aware of it. But this night, he had slept at this place, and he couldn't sleep very well, and he had this vision of angels coming up and down. That's where we get the story of Jacob's ladder. And he said, surely this is the gate of heaven. And so here we see him making this vow. God, if you will be with me, and you'll give me food to eat and clothes to put on, and then bring me back to my father's house in peace, then I will follow you, and you're going to be my God. He started out with a vision of angels at Bethel, and he called it the doorway to heaven, and he really intended to follow God, and he set out to do just that. What he wasn't counting on was there were other people just like him in the world. My granddaughter has some of my traits, and my wife can trace them back to me. She does things, and then I'll say, well, I did those things. And I guess it's just in the blood. Well, Jacob has something in his blood, on his mama's side of the family. They were deceivers. And he went from there, intending to follow God, was going to do everything he could good. And then he met Laban. And the beginning that he had, when he left there, was just as genuine as anybody else's. And there are people who said, well, I met God, and I'm trying to serve him. And they are truly convinced that they want to serve God in the beginning. Now, the end of his life was a good ending. And many of us have a good ending. Look at Genesis chapter 49. And when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he had 12 sons and one daughter that we know of, he gathered up his feet into his bed, he yielded up the ghost, and was gathered unto his people. His life had been blessed. He died with all of his children with him, being blessed and prosperous. He died a content old man of many years. But the middle part of his life was a whirlwind. All of us know a Charlie Brown pig pen. Y'all know what I'm talking about? A little kid on Charlie Brown that walks around and dust is always going. All of us know somebody like that. I can put on white and go to the hospital and visit and look like I changed the oil on the diesel truck. I am a dirt magnet. It just sucks on me, you know. And I go to Joe Jumpers and get on when you walk through the weeds or beggar lice. Folks, I want to tell you something. He started his life out, and he ended his life pretty good, but the middle wasn't very good at all. And it was just like Pigpen. Everywhere he went, trouble followed him. And you may feel like everywhere you go, sometimes trouble follows you. He was swindled into marrying a woman that he didn't want to marry. You know that about Jacob. he said, oh, I love your daughter, Rachel, and I'm going to marry her. So they had the feast, and he got everything ready for the marriage, and got Jacob good and tipsy. And then he went in, woke up the next morning and said, who are you? And it was Leah, Rachel's sister. And guess what? He went to Laban, and Laban said, well, you know, in our country, we don't marry off the younger daughter before we marry off the top, the older one. And so if you want Rachel, you work for me another 7 years, because he had worked for 7 years to marry Rachel. If you work for me another 7 years, then I'll let you marry Rachel. So he did. He got swindled out of it. He became a slave for the one that he wanted to marry. Look what it says in Genesis chapter 31, verse 41. Thus I have been 20 years in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages these 10 times. You see, over 20 years, for 20 years he had worked there, and he got swindled. He got a good dose of his own medicine. You know something, folks? Sometimes we get a dose of our own medicine, we don't like it. It's okay as long as somebody else is getting it. But I want you to think about this. The end of his life was easy. The middle of his life was hard. And the middle of your life is where the biggest problems come. And some of you are facing that right now. Some of you are in the middle. Most of us are living in the middle of our life right now. Some of us in the first middle of it, some of us in the middle, and some of us toward the end middle. We haven't retired yet. We can see the city limit signs. And it depends on your mind, folks, how old you feel. Your body don't have to participate, but you can still. I showed my mother, I was at the nursing home yesterday, and I took a picture of my mother to put it on Facebook so my relatives over in Jacksonville could see her. And I showed her the picture. She says, Lord, is that me? Look how old I am. She never looked in the mirror anymore. It shocked her to realize that she was as old as I said, Mama, you're 84. You're doing okay. And she looked at those spots on her arms and I want you to look at these things. I said, Mama, those are trophies. That's what you get for living a long time. Now, having said that, some people are in the beginning of the middle, some are in the middle, and some are at the end of the middle before they go into the end of their life when they cut it off. But I want to ask you this question. What is causing you the turmoil in the middle of your life right now, regardless of where you are? What is causing the turmoil that's keeping you distressed? And something is keeping us distressed. I got this from a medical magazine. 1 in 4 American adults experience some kind of mental illness in a given year. Each year, depression affects 5 to 8% of adults in the United States. Depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide and will be the single largest healthcare expense by 2020. 13.6 million adults in the United States live with a serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, major depression, or bipolar disorder. 50% of all chronic mental illness begins by the age 14. 75% of all chronic mental illness begins by the age 24. Men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women. Now, folks, if that doesn't tell you that the people in the middle of life are having a rough time, I don't know what I can tell you. But it's hard. People who are in the workplace, in the marketplace right now are struggling to take care of house and home and family and career. And some of you are sitting there knowing, I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember that. Galatians chapter 5, verse 7. You did run well. Who did hinder you that you should not obey the truth? Paul is writing to the Galatians who had started out serving God. They received God, received the message of Jesus Christ, the Messiah, and they were following Him. They were doing well, but then they quit. And there are people in every single community who at one time were very faithful to the church, serving the Lord, and then they quit. They were very faithful to seeing that their families had a spiritual grounding, but then they quit. And so the question that I would ask you this morning As you did run well, what hindered you? Which of those monsters that you have in your closet will be your undoing? Will it be work? Well, everybody's got to work, preacher. Yes, you've got to work, but working 70 and 80 hours a week, you don't have to. Working to the point where you neglect your husband, your wife, your children. Working to the point where you, listen to me, are you listening?
Yes.
Repeat after me. Working to the point.
Working to the point.
Where I neglect.
Where I neglect.
My health.
My health.
Is not smart.
Is not smart.
And it is a monster that's hiding under your bed, hiding in your closet, and it can destroy you. How about this one? Guilt. There are people today who are so burdened down with guilt. They live their life, their whole middle life, guilty because they failed somewhere. Listen, all of us are going to make poor decisions somewhere along the line. All of us are going to make mistakes. All of us, believe it or not, are going to commit sin. But God has devised a way so that we do not have to live under the condemnation of that sin. Amen. In Romans, he said, therefore there is now no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus. Folks, he does not intend for you to live under that sin. And if that guilt is still holding you, you're the one forging your chains that are keeping you bound. How about this one? Fear. Folks, fear is a good thing or it's a bad thing. Fear that keeps you safe from danger and keeps you reverent toward God is a great thing. But fear that keeps you huddled in a corner, fear that keeps you from stepping out and experiencing what God has created for us in His kingdom, that's not a good thing. And it will destroy you if you allow it. And then this one, failure. Folks, all of us are going to fail at one time or another. All you have to do, ready for this? Live long enough. If you live long enough, you're going to fail at something. Now, some of us know what failure is like. We can lay down beside it, and it doesn't bother us. Like Adam on Mythbusters says, failure is always an option. Folks, I want to tell you something. We need to understand that failure is not something that's supposed to keep and destroy us. And the middle of your life is where this failure is going to keep you from getting to the end of your life. A lot of people don't make it out of the middle of their life because of failure. They give up and quit. Men take their own lives because they have been a failure in their business. They put so much in getting all this stuff for their family and their business fails, and then they can't provide it anymore, so they take their own life. Women who have been abused, instead of walking away from those people and realizing just exactly how important they are to God, they keep in that kind of situation. They take their own life because they say, there's never going to be anything better than this. Folks, fear and failure is a dangerous thing. Here's another one. Jealousy. This is a monster that eats up the middle of your life. How does it do it? How does jealousy destroy your middle life? Because you're always trying to get to somewhere else. You're never satisfied where you are. Somebody else gets a promotion. You should have gotten that promotion. But you didn't do all the things that was necessary to get that promotion, even though you're a better worker, and you get jealous. And then you spend the rest of your 20 years working there, or however long it is before you can retire, you spend that time in jealousy, mad because somebody else is getting by. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. There are people in this world who know how to nuzzle up to people and get what they want. There's a lot of names for them out there in the world, and I'm going to leave that to your imagination, but you know what I'm talking about. There are a lot of people who suck up to their employees, and they get promoted even though they're not fit to be promoted. And then they're put over other people who they're not fit to rule over. And jealousy can cause you to just ruin your life. You come home, you can't enjoy your family. You come home, you can't enjoy your wife. Why? Because of this thing that's eating on the inside of you. And here's another one. Anger. Anger is a child of jealousy. And it causes people to live their entire life. Their children say, I can't wait to get out of this house. When I grow up, I'm gone. Why? Because they're always angry. They come in, and mom and dad are always fussing and fighting. They don't really know what they're fussing fighting is. Maybe it's over work, fear, guilt, failure, jealousy, but the anger is destroying their home. And the children say, well, when I get old enough, I'm out of here. Because they're tired of the anger. They want to leave the church because they say, well, the church didn't help my parents. What good's it going to do me? In the middle of your life, when you're living in this anger, it is going to destroy everything that you love. And then here's the last one that I'm going to bring up here, is desire. People spend the middle years of their life rushing and rushing and rushing. You have heard the adage, I was in the rat race and then I realized one day the rats were winning. Have you been there? Struggling and trying and fighting, clawing all the way to the top only to get there and find out there was another top that you have to get to? Have you ever been there? And you get, whatever it takes, I'm going to get there. Folks, all of these things that I mentioned are things that hide in our life, sometimes hide in plain sight, to keep us from enjoying the middle. It's a whole lot easier to be a young person and a senior adult than it is to be in that median age group. Why? Because those two people, the senior adults and the young children, they got some leeway that the rest of us don't have. They've already lived long enough or haven't lived long enough that they don't care what people think about them. They don't care how they dress. They don't care what they say. Why? Because they paid their dues.
Amen.
Folks, understand this. In the middle of our lives, we have to watch everything because we might not get up there. We have to watch this because we might lose that. Folks, it's killing the joy that's supposed to be there.
Amen.
It's just not working for you. How much faster will you have to run from the enemy of us all until you can at last die? I put 6 of them up here. How fast do you have to run to outrun one of these? Until you can finally just die and not have to worry about it. You can't outrun your fear. You can't outrun your jealousy. You can't outrun your anger or your guilt or your failures or your desire. You can't outrun your work. This is what you can do, though. You can stop and say, here's my line in the sand. I am not going to be dominated by you anymore. I have not been created by the God in heaven, sanctified and saved by Jesus who died on the cross for my sin to be your slave. Amen. See, you've got to draw a line. Instead of living to work, you need to work to live.
Amen. Amen.
Because I got news for you. All the stuff that you work, whether it's pushing papers, or whether it's building buildings, or whether it's driving down the road, there's going to come a time when none of that is going to matter whatsoever. It's just not going to matter. Some people believe that there'll be time to rest when they die. I'm not so sure about that. If you don't know peace and joy in this life, you're not going to know peace and joy in the one that comes afterwards. Because peace and joy come from the Lord Jesus Christ.
Amen. That's right.
Folks, you need to understand this. Jesus died to give us peace. My peace I live with you. Not as the world gives, but I give you peace. And He wants us to have that. And you look at a lot of us old folks, and you say, well, how come that don't bother you anymore? Well, it used to. Well, why doesn't it bother you anymore? Because I figured out it couldn't eat me, and I can't eat it, so I just ignore it. It's important for us to understand, folks, that life is going to go until you die. Why don't you start living it? Dying is not going to be rest. The number of people who get to live and die with the only true love of their lives are very few compared to those who found that true love and death intervened too early. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've had friends who said, my wife and I, we're going to be going up into rapture. Oh, that'd be great. But so many people today know what it's like to love someone with all their heart and then they're taken away from them. Many of those are fortunate enough to find somebody else. Many are the couples who hope that they die together after a long, good life. We started out good, we were in love, we had that middle time, and then the end, those golden years, we want to just be there together. Doesn't always happen that way. But dying well is so much easier than the middle is, because the middle is where the wars are fought. In the middle of your life, when you were in your median ages, from 25 to 55, that's where it's toughest. That's where you still got your shoulder to the wheel, and your nose to the wheel, and your shoulder to the grindstone, whichever one. I just know you can't work in that position. Look what it says in 2 Thessalonians, chapter 1, verse 4. So that we ourselves glory in you in the churches of God, for your patience and faith in all your persecutions and tribulations that you endure. This verse of Scripture holds a secret for us to be able to deal with the middle life. Those years when we're trying to make everything we can make. Here's the first secret. Patience. You need to learn that it doesn't always have to be done today. Did you hear what I said?
Yep.
Repeat that. It doesn't always have to be done today. Well, what if there's no tomorrow? Then what benefit was doing it today? Folks, you don't have to look at everything that comes up as if it is a deadline that must be reached. Because some things can let go. I had to do a time study one time in some of my training where I put these 4 squares. Must be done. Should be done. Needs to be done. And it don't matter. And start putting those things in those squares. And you know what? A lot of the things that in the must be done right now really belong in the bottom. It doesn't matter. But you know what we do, especially if we're type A personality? We move everything to that first square. We've got to get it done. If it don't get done today, the world's going to end. Also, we need to learn that everything is not always that important. You get a phone call, and you automatically, well, how am I going to shuffle this stuff around? How am I going to get this done? If you're taking care of people's health, that's different. But if you're stocking a shelf at Walmart, I got news for you. It doesn't matter whether you stock the beans before you stock the rice. Folks, we need to understand everything is not equally as important as everything else. But we treat it that way. And that's why the middle of our lives are so full of turmoil. We treat like everything like it's got to get done today. Also, we need to learn to choose the best battles to wage. You can die on any hill. But the smart soldier knows which battles to wage and which to let go. If you think that everything is so ultimately important that it's got to be done right now, you will waste your energy. Understand your family, your children are more important than your family, than your job.
Amen.
They are more important because when you are not able to work, because listen, one day you could get hurt and no longer be able to go out there and do what you do. It doesn't matter whether you drive a truck or teach a Sunday school, teach a schoolroom class. You could actually get hurt to the point where you can't do anything. Do you think that it's going to be your co-workers that's going to come by and take care of you? Do you think it's going to be those people who have put money in your pocket all those years that's going to be worrying about you? If they're worrying about you, it's only because they're wanting you to get well. Big Bang Theory. Sheldon. Everybody know who I'm talking about?
Yep.
His barber went into the hospital for some reason, and he was in a coma. Sheldon went in there and was desperate, trying to wake this man up so he could get a haircut. He brought scissors to the hospital room so this guy might, in a coma, cut his hair. He wasn't worried about his barber. He was worried about his haircut. Folks, that idiot idea is exactly what happens when we are more concerned about what somebody's going to do for us than about those people. And that's why your family is important. Because they don't want your stuff as much as they want you. And then you need to remember the people who depend on you most need you most, not the stuff that they clamor for. I heard a commercial on TV last night, on the radio last night. Mom, can you do this? No, I've got to work. But Mom, you work every night. Yeah, but I've got to make the sales quota. Because if I don't make the sales quota, then we won't have everything we need. Well, why don't you just quit? Well, then we would only have one income. And then we wouldn't be able to take the vacations that we take. And I wouldn't be able to buy you the stuff that I buy you. And we just wouldn't be able to live in the same lifestyle. Folks, our children need us. They need FaceTime with their family, with their parents. Not just stuff that we can buy them to get them to go out into another room and play. We need to understand that those people who depend on us most are the ones who need us. And in the middle of our life, how many of you are old enough to remember Harry Chapin's song, Cats in the Cradle?
Yep.
I got it on my computer right there. I just use that song as a reminder. I have seen more of my son's children or school plays and basketball games and stuff like that in the middle of the day than most people ever get to see. But I made it a priority to do that. But that whole song about Cats in the Cradle was a man that was too busy during the middle of his life. And then when he got old, all he wanted his son to do was come by to visit. And he said, well, my new job's a hassle and the kids got the flu. But it's sure nice talking to you. When I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, my boy was just like me. He grew up just like me. Folks, we need to let our children know that they're important to us. And so this middle part of our life, we need patience, and the other thing is faith. We need to remember that God is in control. God is the one who holds all the cards.
Amen.
Not you. You're not the one that's in control. You may think you are, but you're not. You also need to remember that God isn't going to love you more later than He does right now. If I do more for God, if I spend more time doing this, spend more time, God's going to love me more. No. Our faith teaches us that God loves us all completely. So much that He gave His only Son to die on the cross for our sin. He commended His love toward us while we were still sinners. Christ died for us. Also, we need to remember that everybody will always insist that you must do their things right now. They're always going to do that. You need to remember this, though. That the day you let everybody else tell you what you have to do because it's so important, that is the day that you can write in your day timer. Today I became a slave. Today my soul belongs to the company store. Today I am no longer in charge of my decisions. We have to have faith that God will take care of us. If your job is that demanding, get another job. And don't let it do the same thing to you that you let this one do. Preacher, you don't understand. Yes, I do. The God that loved you in the beginning will be the one to whom you return in the end. So you need to let Him have control of the middle part too. Jacob's middle life for 20 years was torment with Laban and his deception, and it was because he planted those seeds. But remember his first promise, God, if you will bring me back to this place, if you will bring me back to my father's household. By the time he got to the end, he no longer said, God, if you will. He got to the place where he says, you are my God regardless. Amen. And it's those middle years who challenge you to keep your eyes on God. Father, as we sing the song of invitation,